Hi, I'm Mrs. Jean Marie J. I'm a wife, a mother to 2 kids, a girl who is 12 years old, and a baby boy who is 1.5 years old. I deal in baby clothes and shoes. I also manage a shop that sells disinfectants, toiletries, air fresheners. I mean, things that you can use to actually make your homes and offices and spaces look clean and smell good. So with my daughter, I was very young. I wasn't even thinking about pregnancy, nothing. So I think I wasn't feeling well, and I said to myself that I had malaria. So I went to the hospital, and then they did tests, and the doctor just said, "Congratulations, you are pregnant." So I was just looking at him, and I just sat on the floor and I started crying. Then he asked me, "Why are you crying?" I said, "I'm not ready." He said, "Oh, nobody is ready for pregnancy. Don't worry, you'll be okay." But I was like, "No, please, can you take it out? Because like there's no there's no way I can do this mother thing. I'm too young for it." And then he started laughing at me. So I came home and I told my partner. He didn't have a problem with it. He was like, "So let's have the baby. What's your problem?" I said, "That's what you say because you're not the one going to carry the baby and all that." He said, "Don't worry, we can do this." So, I mean, that's how I found out about my daughter. But with my son, I really wanted another child because the age difference was about almost 11 years. So I really wanted a child, and I had gotten pregnant, I mean, 2 or 3 times, and then it passed. I had miscarriages. So, I mean, I didn't know what to do. I went to see doctors. They said everything was fine with me. My husband also came with me. They did tests. They said we were all fine. Said okay. So I think I just started reading online. I was even more than a nurse. So I went to get strips to test ovulation and all that. So every day I wake up, I pee. I did that for about 3 months. Now I knew how to, I knew the days that I was ovulating. So I had I had to go and be a bridesmaid for a very good friend of mine. So I remember going and then having an ovulation test in my bag. All when they were all having fun and all that, I'll go to the washroom, I'll pee on it. So I called my husband. I said, "I think today is the day, so we should do it." That he said, "But you are going to be a bride." I said, "No, I think we should do it like today." He said, "Okay, fine." So fast forward that after about, I think that same month, after 2 weeks, I kept testing I bought pregnancy test kits. I was checking and checking. So there was one that I saw 2 lines, but the other line was very faint. So I went to my husband. I said, "I think I'm pregnant." And he said, "How can you think you're pregnant or you know?" I said, "I think I'm pregnant." He said, "Okay, let's wait 1 more week and see." But I wasn't feeling any pregnancy symptoms, nothing. So I told him, he said, "Okay, let's wait for a week and then we'll go and test." So I waited. I couldn't wait for the week. I was like, "Let me go and try." So I went to the hospital and I did a test, and then it was positive. So that's how I found out about my son. With my first, I enjoyed it because it was a smooth, sailing for me. I didn't even feel I was pregnant aside my belly growing, and It was a normal process. I could run, I could do everything. I think it was because maybe I was younger, but I was normal. For my daughter, I didn't feel anything. But my son, as for my son, from day one, I was in pain. I was in pain throughout. So I'll just say that I enjoyed my pregnancy with my daughter more than with my son. And so my son, from the one that I found out I was pregnant, I mean, abdominal pains here and there. Then one moment I'm bleeding. I have to rush to the hospital, do scans, and he's okay. And I think I had nausea and stuff like that. So there were some things that when I eat, I wasn't okay, and I had heartburns. As for with my son, it was really, really difficult, especially getting to the end. My abdomen was like, there was a knife being used to cut through it. It was really, really painful. So with my daughter, I was living with one of my aunties. So I think it was 1st of May, like a day before I had her. We were teasing one of her grandchildren that pees in bed. So we were teasing him and we were telling him to stop because he's grown and all that. So I mean, we were chatting and we all went to bed. So I woke up around 2:33 a.m. and I saw that the bed was wet. Like the whole bed was wet. So I was like, God, I've laughed at this boy and I'm going to pee on myself. So I woke up quietly and I went to the bathroom to take a shower. But when I went, the tap wasn't flowing. So I had to come to the kitchen to get water. So when I was coming, and then my auntie saw me, said, why are you up so early? Why do you have a doctor's appointment? I said, oh no, but I think I've peed on myself. And she was like, how? So she saw the water dripping and she was like, how is the water like? And I was like, I don't know, I don't know. I don't know. And she was like, it could be that your water broke. So I was like, I don't think my water broke because I'm not feeling anything. I mean, I've been watching movies where people's water break and they start screaming like they are in pain. I'm like, I'm not feeling anything. So I don't think maybe I just peed. And she was like, no. I should check if it's a bit sticky and all that. So, and have I seen blood? I said, no, I haven't seen any blood, but I think maybe it's sticky, but I don't know. Then she was like, nah, we have to go to the hospital now. So she called, said, bring her stuff, let's take her. And where I was living, you have to walk a bit before, you get a car. So I called my husband, I think it was late, so he didn't pick. So I called someone in the house and they woke him up. And I said, I think, Auntie said, I'm in labor. And he was like, Auntie said, but how are you feeling? I said, for now, I don't know, I'm not feeling anything. And he was like, okay, you guys should go to the hospital so they check you. I'll meet you at the hospital. So, when we were going, then I started feeling some cramps, like menstrual cramps. I was like, okay. So is this how it is that people have been exaggerating that is so painful? Then my auntie just laughed. So we got to the hospital. My husband was already there. So the doctor checked me and said, it's my water that has broken. So they are admitting me. They should go and bring my things. But we had already brought it, so it was in the car. So that was how I went into labor with my daughter. And with my son, I was really, really tired. I was almost in my 40th week, but with the pains in my abdomen, I was tired. I was over and done with. So my last appointment, when I got there, I told the doctor that in fact, they have to induce me because I can't go another day. So he said, okay, they will schedule me for Monday. So I should go and prepare myself and come. I said, okay. So when I went throughout that day, I went for walks with my daughter and we came back. So when I came back, I went to pee and then I saw a little bit of blood. And I was like, hey, is this okay? Let me see. Let me see if I'll feel anything. So I told my husband, this is what I've seen. He was like, okay, but how am I feeling? I said, oh, for now, I'm okay. He said, okay, let's see if the blood gets more. Then we'll know if we have to go to the hospital. I said, okay. It was a Friday. So I went to bed. I mean, I didn't feel anything. So I went to bed and I slept. That day I slept very well. I woke up around 8. So when I woke up, I went to take a shower. Then I started feeling the cramps little by little. So I was like, okay. So I took a phone and I started timing it. So I was timing it and I told him that I think today is the day. It was a Saturday. I said, I think today is the day. He said, really? But he just took his car to the mechanic. Okay, so he's going to try and get it and bring it back. But he just wanted them to check something. I said, okay. So I called after about 1 hour. The thing was getting intense. Like every, I think 3 minutes, I was like, yeah. So I called him. I said, why are you? And he said, why? What's wrong? I said, I have to go to the hospital. And he said, so normally I don't like showing pain in front of people. So he thought I was joking. And he said, but you are the one just laughing right now. I was laughing over the phone. Saying, but you're laughing. That means you're lying. I said, I'm not lying. I said, so he said, okay, I'm coming. So I went inside, picked my bag and everything, dragged it outside, dressed up. And I went to stand outside and I was still feeling the pain. So I saw my mother-in-law driving out. And I went to her, I said, Mommy, please take me to the hospital, okay? She said, but where's your husband? I said, he said he's coming, but he's not coming back. The way I'm feeling, I need to go to the hospital. And she was like, okay. So she helped me put the things in the car. That's when I heard my husband come in. And he said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the hospital. Then his mom was like, but you should say she needs to go to the hospital. Why are you not taking? He said, I was coming. I said, okay. So we all sat in the car. Now when we sat in the car, the thing became like, he couldn't even concentrate in driving. He kept looking back. And his mom was like, you look forward and drive, she'll be fine. So that's how I went into labor with my son. So with the labor with my daughter, I wasn't showing like I said, I didn't like showing pain in front of people. So when I'm feeling it, I told them I'm going to the washroom. I go and feel all the pain. I come back laughing. So my husband went to ask the midwife that, do you think she'll be having the baby anytime soon? The midwife said, looking at the way she's just laughing and she's, not showing anything, I don't think she'll have the baby anytime soon. Probably in the evening. So my husband was like, okay, then let me go home and take a quick shower and get a few things and come back. And I said, okay, you can go. So I was left with me and my cousin in the hospital. So I was just there, I was feeling it, I was just walking up and down. So the morning shift midwives had to go for the evening ones to come. So she was like, okay, lie down, let me check how far you've gone so that I can leave. I was like, okay. So I just lie down and she was like, hey, how many children do you have? I was like, I don't have any child. She said, hey, Uchimia Dino. So you are sitting here, by the time we will see you, would have given birth on the floor here. No one will know. I was like, why? She said, that's your baby's head. And then she called the other nurses and said she's ready to push. And then they brought stuff, they prepared everything, and then I lie down. And then I just pushed a few times, and then she was here. But with my son too, it didn't take long. It didn't take long. I mean, when I got to the hospital, within the next 2 hours, he was out. But I really felt the pain. So I got there, and then the nurse checked, and she was like, oh, I was around 5 centimeters. I said, okay. So I was walking up and down, and I was like, this pain that I'm feeling, I don't know, it's too much. Then so she told me to come and lie down. I said, I can't lie down either. I said, no, I have to lie down sideways and wait for a bit. I told her the way I'm feeling, I can't lie down. So I told her I wanted to pee. So there was just a washroom right by where I'll be delivering. So I went there, I went to pee. And then I told her that the pain I'm feeling, I want to push. I feel like pushing. She was like, no, she just checked me not long ago. I was 5 centimeters. I said, Auntie, I know what I'm feeling. I want to push. She said, please don't push. So she said, okay, you lie down, let me check again. So she checked and she said, it's 8 centimeters, so I shouldn't push. I said, Auntie, I know what my body is telling me. I want to push. And she was like, so I started pushing. She didn't tell me. I lied down and I started pushing. She was like, Auntie, she was like, Madam, wait. I said, please, I can't wait. I want to push. And she was like, okay, let's start. She said, you get here. So I said, I want to push. So I just started pushing. And she called another. So I had called my midwife who was on her way coming. But I saw that she wouldn't even get to where the hospital, and I would have given birth because the way I was feeling. And a funny thing that happened when I was pushing, there were 2 other nurses standing by. This midwife, I went to meet her in the morning. I've never seen her before, like since I've been going to the hospital. So when I was pushing, she started, all of us, when the baby's head came halfway, and like she started saying, Jesus, we didn't who be down. So when she said that, I held back. I didn't want to push again, and I was going back, and she was like, so the other nurses had to hold me, and one was pressing on my tummy, and they were like, push. I said, why is she screaming Jesus? Like, what's happening? And they were like, you push. If you feel like pushing, push. So I was pushing. I was trying so hard, and it was like he was stuck. So they were trying, they were telling me push. I said, I'm pushing. So they were able to pull, his head came. And then I was like, I can't breathe. They were like, push, please. Don't relax. He's already here. So the other nurse was helping me and was pressing on my tummy. And then I was pushing. And then he finally came. And when he came, he was white, very white, and he wasn't crying. So I was like, and so I heard her saying, can you go and bring oxygen? I was like, is he okay? So they covered me up, like from downwards, and then they were attending to the baby. So I was like, is he okay? So they tried, like it's like he wasn't breathing. So they were hitting his chest, they were rubbing his chest and shaking him and all that. He coughed a little, and then he started crying, but the crying wasn't loud. So they were like, cry for us, baby, cry for us, please, cry for us. So they were hitting his butt small, and then he started crying. And then they put him down. They said yes. So they put the oxygen on him for a bit, and they left him. They said, cry for us, cry. So he was just lying there. He was crying small, and then he would cough a bit. So I said, is he okay? They said, he'll be fine. So then that's when I saw that his color was coming, like he was getting a bit red. Now I became, so now the placenta that they had to, I don't know when, this midwife, honestly. So the placenta, I don't know how she cut it, but then my sister-in-law is a doctor. So I think my husband called her, so she came. So she came inside the delivery room. My husband was also standing there. But with the heat and everything, he was like, he wants to go out a bit and come. I was like, okay. So my sister-in-law was like, haven't you delivered the placenta? And she was like, oh, because we attended to the baby. And she was like, so you've left the mother? So she came and she said, okay. So the lady came and said I should push more, and then the placenta came. And then she just cut it. I don't know how she did it, but there was a splash of blood like everywhere. Even my sister-in-law's hair. There was like, so she was like, ah. So she was just standing there looking at the midwife like, okay. So they cleaned me up, everything. Funny enough, I didn't get one cut with him. With my daughter, I got cuts, I got stitches, but with him, I didn't even get one cut. So I was like, they cleaned me up and they put a drug under my tongue. And they told me they are taking care of babies, so they took me to the ward. And when I got to the ward, that's where I started shivering seriously. So my mother-in-law got hot water, did some hot Milo for me. I drank it and I started sweating. And that's the delivery for my kids. With my daughter, honestly, I was told that I'll have a boy. So, I mean, I got boy stuff. I was ready for a boy. And before I went into labor, they did a scan. And they were like, it's like the baby's cord is wrapped around her waist. So if the next week they check the scan and it hasn't changed, then they'll have to do a CS. I was like, me, CS, God forbid. So I got home, I prayed about it, and that's the same week that I had her. She came, and when she came, she was a girl. And with her, I took just one scan. So I was like, but these people told me I was having a boy. So and then she came and she was a girl. So because of that, with my son, I had to take a lot of scans because they kept saying, they told me it was a boy. I was like, I even when I told my husband was like, are you sure it's not the same mistake? Maybe it's a girl, they are telling you so. I said, no, but this one I'm taking like more than 3 scans. And they are saying that I'm going to have a boy. So it definitely is a boy. And even one of the scans, they showed me his PP and everything. So I'm definitely having a boy. So I was like, oh, me, unless I see before. I said, okay. So with my daughter, when I saw her for the first time, I was shocked. But then I looked at her and I was like, so this human being came out of me. I was just looking at her and I was with my son, I was a bit scared. So I was nervous at the same time. So I just kept looking at him, and every minute I'll ask, is he okay? Is he okay? And all that. But yeah, after I had my son, I had him on a Saturday. So on a Monday, I had to go back to the hospital. So when I got to the hospital, the whole time when we took him home, it's like, I don't know, he had something in his eye. So they put an ointment in it. So he didn't really like opening his eyes. So I was worried about that. So when we went to the hospital and the doctor checked him, the doctor was like, nah, they have to transfer me to Kolebu straight away because they think he has jaundice. So I was like, okay. So if he gives me the transfer, I said I have to go now. As soon as they give me the transfer, I should go. So I was like, okay. So I called my husband. I said, this is what they've said. He was at work. So I called him. I said, this is what they've said. They said I have to take him to Kolebu straight away. He was like, why? What's wrong with him? I said, they said they are suspecting jaundice. So he said, okay, then I'm coming home. Then we all take him. So my sister-in-law joined my husband and we took him to Kolebu. And so they checked him. They were like, no. They have to put him under the lights and admit him straight away because His eyes are really yellow, and they were pressing his whole body. So they said the jaundice has climbed up to his abdomen. So they were worried. So they were like, they have to put him under the light straight away. So this was during the pandemic. So then is supposed to be one person with the baby. So they took us to the emergency where you see other babies. I mean, it wasn't a nice sight to behold, because I could feel the pain that the other mothers were feeling as well. And my son I had to remove his whole clothes, except maybe his diaper, and then they put something to cover his eyes. And he was under the lights, and he would be crying, and they will tell you that you let him cry. So far as you know that he doesn't need a diaper change, or he's not hungry, I should leave him, because he has to be under the lights. In fact, that whole night, my husband was outside as well, but he couldn't come inside because they said one person is supposed to be with the baby. So he was outside with my sister-in-law till about 1 a.m. He was very worried, and then he was like, okay, since he's not allowed to come, he will just go home and come the next morning. So it was just me and baby. I mean, you'll be given a plastic chair, and baby will be there under the lights. So I was just sitting in the plastic chair, mother who hasn't healed. I mean, I was scared to even go and leave him and go and pee, because there was no one there. So I was just sitting by him watching him. I couldn't sleep the whole night. So I think the next day they came to move us to the I don't know if it's the NICU, or he was just 3 days old. So that's where I went. They took us to a different place. It wasn't easy, because there's no bed for you, the mother, to even rest on. They will tell you that the baby is their patient. So you, the mother. So, I mean, the whole time I was there, because I couldn't lie down, I was just sitting, my whole feet were swollen. And there will be times they will come, and I remember they took me, when they took us there, they didn't tell me that at some certain points, they would tell all the mothers to go out to leave their babies. So I didn't express any milk for him. So I was just there, and then they started sacking all the mothers. I was like, what's going on? They said, you have to leave the babies from 7 to 9. I was like, he hasn't eaten. And they were like, hey, you go. If he cries, nothing will happen to him. So I remember going outside and calling my husband and crying. So I said, how can they let me leave my baby without eating? I was just crying outside. And he was like, you take your time, take your time. So he called his sister, who works there too. So she went straight there, went to check on him a bit, and said, oh, he's fine, he's fine. He was crying, but they've been able to stop him, and he's sleeping. So that's how I got okay. So with the first 2 weeks of delivering wasn't nice for me at all. Yes, I mean, when you have a baby, it's like part of your life, you have to put it on hold. Because my babies don't like bottles in a funny way. They don't like feeding bottles. Like, you give it to them and they'll just take their tongue out. They'll never take it. So with my kids, they never took formula. They took breast milk, but then they didn't want it in anything. So that was a challenge for me, leaving them. So if I have to leave and go somewhere, I have to rush back, because if they start crying, it will be a challenge. If they give them the food, they will never take it. They will cry. So that was one challenge for me. I couldn't leave them to even do a quick rounds and come back. No. Everyone will hear that you've left your child. They'll have to be calling you to come back. So that was one challenge for me. Do I think I know what I'm doing? It's seriously a learning journey. I don't think everyone has it together and knows what they are doing. You have to take it one day at a time. So, I mean, you have to study your kids and know their likes and dislikes. So, I don't think I would say I know what I'm doing, but then I'm learning every day. So, it's one day at a time. This body change. With my daughter, I think I snap back really fast. But with my son, it's been really, really difficult. I mean, I'm just putting on weight. I don't know what to do. I don't know if it's stress or anything, but then I don't, with my son, it's hard. It's almost 2 years, but then I don't think I've gotten my body even halfway to what I want it to be. Ever since I gave birth, baby doesn't really worry me that much, but it's like when I was pregnant, it was really hard to sleep in the night. So it's like my body has gotten used to that kind of 1 a.m., 2 a.m., sometimes 3 a.m. before I can fall asleep. So sometimes baby will sleep. Instead of me to sleep, I can't sleep. I'll just be tossing, pick my phone, be on it. Maybe watch a movie a little. But baby doesn't, he's funny enough, he's a very good baby. He just eats and he sleeps, and maybe when he's uncomfortable, you change him and he's just lying there calmly. My son doesn't worry at all. So I'm the one that cannot sleep. I'm the one that will be just there. With my daughter, honestly, I did enjoy it the first week because my nipples were sore. And that experience, if you have felt it, if baby hasn't like maybe has breastfed and then you put it back and it's time for the baby to breastfeed again, when she grabs the nipple, the pain is like they are stabbing you in the heart, honestly. It's so painful. So you see me holding on to the chair and trying so hard not to scream. So then unless after the sore healed and everything, I mean, it was a smooth sailing. Yes, I'm back to work. I have a shop in Accra. So I take baby, he hasn't started school yet. So I take him to work, and then, I mean, when we get to the shop, he just plays around, sleeps, and then that's it. Yeah, I'm back to work. So when I'm going out, the preparations I have to do is, God bless my mother-in-law. I mean, I don't know what I would do without her. She's amazing, honestly, because when I'm going out, she's the one that takes care of baby. So, I mean, I set up diapers, everything. He eats everything now, so I set up everything, and then I just go and give him to her, and then she'll take care of him till I'm back. Sometimes in the night, she'll tell me, my son is very attached to me, so when I'm not around, you hear him saying, "Mommy, mommy," go and stand outside or by the window trying to look for me and all that. So she tries as much as possible to, I mean, take care of him till I get back. I don't really do much, because these days with the technology and all that, with these technologies, you turn on the cartoons, the Coco Melon and stuff. And he just will sit there so attentive. So you can actually show it for him, leave him, go and do whatever you have to do, and he will not even move from where he's sitting. So with technology these days, I mean, but with my daughter, maybe you sing for her, you have to dance for her those days when we were younger. But then with technology, you can distract them a bit with maybe cartoons, yes. I don't have nicknames for them. I just call them by their names, yes. Yes, I'm someone that really likes searching things on Google. Unless I don't see something, I'll go and check. So, I mean, there were a lot of techniques that I read on Google that could help baby use the bottle. I did everything, but none of them worked. They just didn't want it. They didn't want the bottle at all. With my son, sometimes you take it like for some one day and you'll be happy. You think that, okay, today he's drunk from the bottle, it will continue the next day. You give it to him and he'll be screaming like you are killing him. He won't suck it one bit. So, I mean, there are things that I read. Those are some of the things that I read that didn't work for me. I don't really think I have much challenges because I have help. I mean, if I think I'm a bit tired, I'll just tell my husband and he'll take care of baby whilst I take a little bit of rest. Or sometimes I'll just go and give him to his grandmother and I'll do that. So I don't think I really had much challenges. Some of the nice things about motherhood is especially when your baby maybe you've gone out for a bit and you come back and they are just so excited to see you. Like when you do something for them, the smile on their faces, you could see the appreciation. Even though they can't talk, they show it. With my daughter that is older, can tell me I love you. I mean, when she says these things, they are things that makes me happy. So yeah, that's the rewarding things about being a mother.
Your final words.
So my final words is that every mother and every child is different. I mean, there are times where people will tell you, do this, do that, but maybe it's not the same with your child. So you do your best. You know your child and all that. And also, when you are pregnant, I think that you should really listen to yourself. Like, you should look into yourself and know how you feel about yourself, because you know what you are feeling. I mean, you can explain it to another midwife who has been a mother before, who know, but then there's always a difference. So listen to your body. Don't rush yourself too much. Some people give birth and they're in a hurry. I mean, you used a whole 9 months or even 10, almost 10, to create a whole human being. So you don't expect yourself to, I mean, come back to pre-pregnancy just in a month or two. You have to give yourself time to heal, time to, I mean, take care of yourself. Little by little, you will get there.
Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, share, and comment. And follow on Jomo Baby on Instagram, Jomo Baby on YouTube, and Jomo Baby on Facebook. Thank you.
you.